hands down, best episode of Welcome to the Ballroom. There's no competition. That final sequence of the episode, when Tatra actually got the courage to just move around Chinatsu to where he wanted, best episode. Just straight up best episode. Such a phenomenal moment. It was such a iconic and phenomenal moment for Fujita and his character development. It was just amazing. And so, with that being said, this episode, I have to say, I like how Fujita's character was dived into this week. He's a character that is a mystery. And when you think about all of our cast of characters, okay, like all of our individual characters for this series, if there's one character we barely know much about, that is Tatra. I mean, think about it. When you think about Tatra as a character, we don't really know much about him. He doesn't seem like he's overall MC material. I mean, when you compare him to a character like, Chinatsu, Hyodo, or, Gaju and all that, Mako, it just doesn't seem like we know much about him. We don't really see him as an MC. He seems more like a support character than anything else. And I feel like that's kind of the symbolic message here. As we know, we have it to where Fujita, he's been playing the role of like a partner. Every time he has a partner, he always is the one allowing the girl to do the work, and he's the one sitting on the sidelines, and he's kind of, positioning himself in a way to support the partner and make the partner kind of more like the lead role. And I feel like that, like I said, was very symbolic for the message of this episode. He also has been giving up his title. He's been giving up his title as the main character to many other characters. And with the ending sequence of this episode, it's kind of like he says, I'm the main character of this story, get out of my way, I'm leading this story. That's basically what that looked like to me. And so, that's very cool. I like how that was done. I don't know if the writer was trying to go that way with it, but that's the feeling and impression I got when I found out that, in this episode, he doesn't feel like a main character at all because he's a coward. He's someone that doesn't tell anyone anything. He keeps everything to himself. It's because that's how his personality is. There's a problem with his personality, which adds character development and characterization to him. But on top of that, though, just the way he acts, he's always being that support character. He's never being the main lead. And so now that he's came into the spotlight, now he's leading Chinatsu, he rotated her around, it's like he didn't just become the lead in the couple pairing, but he also became the lead of his series, Welcome to the Ballroom. So just a very fantastic way to kind of do that with, the build-up of the plot and the characters. Just fantastic. Phenomenal episode. Best episode, hands down, for this series. So, with that being said, let's talk about what Fujita did. So, Fujita, as we know, he is someone that we know nothing about. He's a coward. He hasn't told anyone much of anything, and it explains now why Chinatsu was so angry with him. Like, I don't understand you. I can't understand you, which makes sense now. It's not that she just said that just to say it. She said it because Fujita is someone that doesn't like to express himself. He maneuvers around people in a way to where he makes them happy, but he doesn't make himself happy. And the only time he truly expresses himself is when he's dancing. And that's kind of what Hyodo popped up with and let us know in this episode. You have to Fujita, he may not show his face or emotions and keeps to himself, doesn't let anyone know much about him, but when he's dancing, his emotions come out. We easily can figure out if he's upset, if he's depressed, if he's happy. We can always feel these emotions from him, which makes a lot of sense. And in this case, the time that we really get to see Fujita for who he is when he is dancing. Think about the beginning episodes when he smiled and all that. A very passionate smile that was just deep within him that showed he was truly happy. And in this episode, he wasn't smiling. You saw this fire in his eyes. Like, he was really agitated and upset and angry. But even though he was those emotions, we got to see what he was feeling, and he used those emotions to lead way for he finally opened up for Chinatsu can understand him. So I like that. I really like how this episode depicted Fujita as a character, and when he does express himself, we see it through his dance and the way his face is shown, which makes him very creepy but fascinating, and that's why Hyodo even mentioned that in the first place. So moving past that, let's talk about the funny moments of this episode. So, the entire family scene, when Chinatsu's family popped up, I gotta admit, I had a good laugh with what Fujita said about Chinatsu's family. It's something I've been thinking for a while, and I haven't really mentioned it, but when he's like, oh man, Chinatsu's family, they have big foreheads, all of them, I'm like, Like, okay, thankfully I wasn't the only one that's thinking that. Like, I haven't said it, but Chinatsu has a really big forehead, okay? Like, her forehead is massive. Okay, now, there's nothing wrong with a massive forehead sometimes, but she has a big forehead, and when her family popped up, Fujita mentioned the big foreheads of her entire family. I just couldn't help but laugh. I'm like, that is just amazing. And then the other stuff, when you have, like, Akira's family come in, that was funny. So, I mean, you have these little scenes and all that, this little comedy segment, that's probably one of the best moments of the episode. Besides the fiery ending, just that was a funny moment just to get some characterization of how they interact with their family, and seeing Chinatsu's family was pretty sweet. I was really happy to see something like that. Now, speaking of which, Tatra, or Fujita's family, wasn't there. Which, like I said, was the main concept of the episode. He is someone that doesn't open up, and so he still has yet to tell his father at all. He hasn't let his family know about what he is doing, what he's passionate about, which is kind of sad. It's depressing, and I feel like when he finally does open up and let his father know, that's when we know he is finally ready. He has the courage to take charge of the series, himself as a person, his path with his life and everything. That's when he's gained enough courage to be the main character of his life. That's what I think is going to happen. So yeah, overall, the episode of Welcome to the Ballroom, fantastic. It was a straight fantastic episode. I don't think it could have been much better than it. I mean, I know it was a very simple episode, it's straight to the point, but it still was a fantastic episode, and I think everybody can agree with me when it comes to that. So, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think this is the best episode of Welcome to the Ballroom since episode 1? Let me know your honest thoughts. Do you enjoy this episode? Do you hate this episode? How do you feel about the funny comedy moments, especially when we found out about Akira's partner, and, you know, Akira's partner was actually an adult instead of, like, a creepy, you know, weird adultish-looking teenager? Tell me your honest thoughts in the comments below, how you felt about all these little scenes. I love you guys. Thank you so much. And if you enjoy my content, please subscribe. And if you like this video, please leave a like. Love you guys. Please be safe. Stay healthy. Chibi out.